welcome to today's video, and today it's the top 5 weird devices I've seen at Mobile World Congress 2019, and as Philip DeFranco would say, let's jump into it. I'll never do that again, sorry. Anyway, right, so number 1 on my list, this is in no particular order, apart from number 1 is a weird one. The Energizer Bunny has shipped a brick. I didn't swear then, I promise. The Fairy Battery Company have announced a 18,500 milliamp hour battery pack. Now, that's nothing particularly exciting or amazing about that, apart from one thing, and that's this one is built into a phone. And in fact, a fairly high-spec phone as well. It's called the P18k Pop, and I'm guessing the pop sound will be the sound that your back makes when you try and pick the thing up. Anyway, jokes aside, this is definitely an endurance device, and actually I can sort of see a use for it. As a scout leader and an avid camper and everything, I can think of dozens of young people who would want to use this, you know, take this away on camp with them. You're away on summer camp for a week, you've got nowhere to charge your phone up. Well, this is your phone for the week, because as much as we say no phones and no phones on camp, they take them, and it's just going to happen basically. And also for things like festivals and things like that. But also it works as a battery pack as well, and it can power other things. So that's pretty cool. Specs wise, it's pretty high spec actually. It's a 6.2 inch display. It's got 3 cameras on the back, like most of the flagships this year. 2 on the front. It's got a MediaTek Halo P70 chip. So yeah, it's not up there with the Snapdragons, but that's a good chip. It's got 128 gigs of storage, 6 gig of RAM. You can take SD cards as well. It's dual SIM. So it's released in June this year, June 2019, and it comes in at, whoa, €600, which actually for the phone is pretty reasonable for that spec of phone. That's a battery pack. That's a lot of money. Anyway, on to number 2 on the list. This is the LG V50 5G. Which is just another high-spec phone, I hear you ask, or say. Well, it's not really the phone, it's actually what goes with it. Now, LG have a history of creating devices with accessories that go with them that change those. I think it was the LG G5. It had a removable battery when everybody else had sealed ones, and it also had a module for audio files, so you can put a DAC on the end of it, or it had a grip that would attach to it so you could turn it into a camera. Like an actual physical sort of camera button like you'd have on a normal camera. And this is sort of taking that to an extreme, and they've made a foldable phone basically. So everybody else is going for the large tablet style screen. This one works on a sort of clamshell design, which is very sort of 2001-esque. So forget the foldable, the clamshells are back according to LG. Now, the LG V50 is impressive. It's as impressive as all other flagships in 2019. It's got a Snapdragon 855, 6 gigs of RAM, 128 gigs. It's also got SD card expansion, triple cameras on the back, but really the party piece is that extra screen, which can be added to it. It's a case extension, basically. I mean, everybody else is going for the foldable phone, well, everybody else. Samsung and Huawei have gone for the other design. This is much more reminiscent of a Nintendo DS than an iPad. But it could be a good middle ground. If you think about it, the price of this is going to be considerably lower. Well, LG didn't release a price with this, but going by previous iterations of devices, they sort of keep in line with similarly priced spec phones, so you should be looking at about £1,000 for this one with the cover. Right, and now number 3, and this is one thing I've used the previous generation, mind you. I suppose I've used the previous generation of the LG, but this one is the Microsoft Hololens 2, which is their augmented reality. Well, they don't call it augmented reality; they call it mixed reality, and it looks truly awesome. but sadly it's not for you. Unless you work on a construction site, or on a factory floor, or anywhere else industrial. Now I got to use the Hololens 1, a number of different trade shows and events. So a BIM and construction event, so that's the sort of event for people working in the construction industry, architects, that sort of thing, and they're used for doing walkthroughs of buildings. They actually mapped out, like, took the architect's designs and they mapped them onto the building we were in. So you could imagine looking around and seeing everything. So you'd be able to follow where pipes have been installed, where they're going to be installed. So you can actually check from the architect's designs where they're going to match up in the real world, and that is a very, very good idea. And basically, this newer version of it is more the same, really. It's a lot smaller. It will fit onto things like hard hats. It's much more balanced. It has eye tracking, so it can actually track. It'll use your eyes as like a scroll wheel, basically. So if you're reading through things, it will automatically scroll from where your eyes moving. This is one of those future tech devices, really. It's sort of there now for industry, but what they're proving here and they're developing and getting right, instead of releasing it to the masses straight away, like lots of other VR companies and stuff are doing, before they've actually perfected and got a system that just works. They're getting it working in specific cases in industry and proving the technology, making sure it works. And I reckon in a sort of HoloLens 3, HoloLens 4, it will make its way down to you and I, and that is exciting. Oh, number 4. I remember number 4. This was actually, when I read about this, I was like, I have wasted, I can say hours, but it must add up to days of my life now trying to do this. Now, anybody who has kids knows that it is an utter nightmare to getting them to brush their teeth properly. Just tonight we had a pain. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So this really is the answer to you don't have to nag your kids to brush their teeth anymore. The Oral-B Genius X will do it for you. Now, I was all ready to bash this one. Smart toothbrushes are not new, but ones that use artificial intelligence, inverted commas, are not new. But this one actually uses artificial intelligence and machine learning based on thousands of people's input to sort of get it right. And honestly, I can see this being a huge advantage, especially to people who either struggle to brush their teeth or are learning, like kids. So, I mean, we've spent years trying to get the boys to brush their teeth properly, and I know if we're not actually watching them, they still don't brush their teeth properly. This one, with its machine learning, its algorithms, will hopefully actually keep them on track, and it shows them where they've brushed, how well they've brushed, and it will gamify the event for the children, or the act of brushing their teeth. And also, we can just look at the app and go, oh look, they haven't brushed their teeth properly, and then go back to it. And anything really that can get that task done better, or just without as much input, is brilliant in my book. Price? Well, they haven't released the price yet, but going by their other previous models of this sort of caliber device, you're looking at between £200 and £250, which, yeah, it's a fair bit, but especially in the UK markets, most toothbrushes are exceedingly heavily discounted by the retailers, so I don't think you'll be actually paying anywhere close to that. Oh yes, and finally, my favourite one actually, this. Do you hate coming home from holiday or weekends away to find a huge mountain of cat turds piling up in the litter tray? Haha. Well, hate to know more, my friends, because those crazy Southern Koreans have created the LavvieBot by, get this, Persong. Amazing name. And yep, it is exactly what you think it is. It is a robot cat litter tray, and if you look at it on the pictures, it is. If you look at it, it's like a little cave. It's an awesome looking thing, and it does all the tidying away, and it bags everything up, and it stops it all smelling, self cleaning, etc., etc. Personally, I think either teach them to go in the toilet, which I believe Jenny was trying to get our cats to do, or install a cat flap. But I suppose if you can't install a cat flap, this is probably your next best option. If you have £300 to spend on it, it goes live on Indiegogo in May. Links are in the doobly-doo to their website. Have a look. In fact, just go and have a look. It's just check out some of my other videos. I've done a couple more tech-related ones. One yesterday from the World Mobile Conference as well. So have a look at that one. Please like and subscribe. Share away on all your social media. If you do subscribe, make sure you ring the bell so you actually get notified when I do updates. And I will see you tomorrow for another exciting video. Take care. Thanks a lot. Cheers. Bye.